Okay, good morning. Today's a good day. So welcome to the graduation ceremony of the MEDEX Northwest PA program. My name is Theo Orchard. I'm the site director for Spokane campus. I'd like you to all please stand and join me in welcoming the graduates of Spokane Class 24. Come on in, guys. Don't be scared. Again, welcome to the graduation ceremony for the MEDEX Northwest PA program, Spokane Class 24. As I said, I'm Theo Orchard. I'm the Spokane campus site director, and I'd like to recognize those on the stage with us today. First here we have Brendan Reardon, who's MEDEX faculty with us. Next we have Dr. Thane McCullough, the Gonzaga University president. Next, we have Ami Naidu, the Associate Program Director of Student Affairs at the MEDEX PA program based in Seattle. Next, we have Patty Hahn. She's a nurse practitioner and former MEDEX faculty. And we have Carrie Rogers, PA and MEDEX faculty with us today. You'll hear from each of them today. But before we move on with the remainder of the program, I wanted to talk to the graduates just a little bit. You may remember about 3 years ago when we met for the first time during interviews. The world was a little bit different then, and there was a lot of excitement that day. There was anxiety that day, but there was a lot of hope about what was to come and the opportunity to potentially become a PA, to get into the program and to receive your education here. And at this point, you guys have all realized that dream. You are leaving today as PAs ready to sit for your board exams and to start taking care of patients. But remembering back to those interviews, nobody could have predicted that before you would have even started your education, that a worldwide pandemic would do what it has done. It has changed the world in many ways, but most relevant to our purposes today, COVID-19 has changed the way you would receive your education and would change the face of the medical field that you are entering. Despite being the first class to have an in-person graduation in a few years, your education has been more heavily impacted than any of the previous classes. Yet through all this, you have succeeded and are better for it. Today, I want to congratulate you on being able to endure such a rigorous education in such unprecedented times to make it to this day. Congratulations, graduates. I would also like to say that no one does something like this alone, and to be able to accomplish such an endeavor requires the support of family, friends, and others. I ask that the graduates please stand and turn and recognize those who are here supporting you today, and thank them for their help. Okay, so next we will have a short welcome from the program director, Terry Scott, who unfortunately could not be with us today. So he has recorded a short clip for us to be able to listen to today.
Hello, I'm Terry Scott. I'm the program director for the MEDEX program, and congratulations to all the graduates. I want to be one of the first to congratulate you on such a wonderful accomplishment. Today recognizes your grit and determination on becoming a physician assistant. I want to say on behalf of the faculty and staff how proud we are that each and every one of you have made it to this day, and that each and every one of you are going to make significant contributions in the lives of your patients. As I think about the next 20 to 30 years, I look forward to seeing your careers unfold, to see the difference that you'll make in your communities, whether those are rural, underserved, urban communities. The one thing that we enjoy as faculty and staff here at MEDEX is to watch our graduates go out and do wonderful and great things. Whether you choose primary care or specialty care, you are needed, and you're needed more so now than ever. The stress of the last 2.5 years has strained this nation and this world in ways that none of us could have predicted in 2020. Now, 2.5 years later,
Don't worry, we planned for this. We even have a backup queued up in the back. Wink, wink.
hello, I'm Terry Scott. I'm the
go.
program director for the MEDEX program, and congratulations to all the graduates. I want to be one of the first to congratulate you on such a wonderful accomplishment. Today recognizes your grit and determination on becoming a physician assistant. I want to say on behalf of the faculty and staff how proud we are that each and every one of you have made it to this day, and that each and every one of you are going to make significant contributions in the lives of your patients. As I think about the next 20 to 30 years, I look forward to seeing your careers unfold, to see the difference that you'll make in your communities, whether those are rural or underserved urban communities. The one thing that we enjoy as faculty and staff here at MEDEX is to watch our graduates go out and do wonderful and great things. Whether you choose primary care or specialty care, you are needed, and you're needed more so now than ever. The stress of the last 2.5 years has strained this nation and this world in ways that none of us could have predicted in 2020. Now, 2.5 years later, I want to commend you for staying with it to accomplish this goal. Now, as you think about the future, today is the end of your journey with MEDEX, but it is a beginning of sorts. Your career now unfolds. You'll be sitting for the national boards in a few weeks. Give it your best. And after that, you'll be starting your new career as a physician assistant. Take care of yourself as you take care of others. But also be mindful of the fact that you'll be joining a workforce that has been battered and beaten over the last 2.5 years. You are needed so much, and I'm so proud of each and every one of you for sticking with this and for choosing healthcare at this time. On behalf of the MEDEX program and the University of Washington, I want to congratulate you and wish you nothing but the best on your career.
My guest.
Okay, we'll now have Brendan Reardon introduce the next portion.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, graduates, family, friends. Thanks for being here. I thought about starting this by having my microphone muted so we could make a callback to Zoom University, how we first met. And in keeping with the theme of my first quarter at MEDEX, I'm wholly unprepared, but we're going to make it work. So thank you all for being here. My job today will be to MC and mostly just introduce people. So let's get it started. First up, I would like to introduce an honored guest, Dr. Thane McCullough. He is the president of Gonzaga University and our collaborators in this project. So, Dr. McCullough.
Good morning, everyone, and good morning, graduates. I promise I will only give these remarks once. I do want to share as a really privileged partner of the University of Washington and the MEDEX program to share with you, family members as well, how honored I am to have been invited to simply join with you and offer on behalf of the Gonzaga community our sincere congratulations and our gratitude to each of you physician assistants as you today are recognized with your degree. We know that these last couple of years have been extraordinarily challenging and very rigorous, and yet at the same time, even more so, a cause for celebration. It is incredibly difficult to imagine how both faculty and their staff colleagues, but especially students, in such an extraordinary time and in such an important program could successfully navigate all of the curricular challenges and the opportunities that for mastery that you have been presented with. We know that this has been a time of isolation as well as collaboration, that there have probably been a lot of moments of frustration and perhaps some people who elected to not continue with the program as a result. But the 31 of you here represent the future of medicine in our region and in all of the other places to which you will go. And I would say it is even more important, I think, today that we recognize and take the time to acknowledge what you have accomplished and what you are committing yourselves to, because it certainly is a world that needs you even more today in very real ways, in ways that I know you can see than people probably imagined when you first set out on this journey. We are seeing as a university evidence of the fatigue and the challenge that the healthcare system is experiencing. And one of our strongest programs and one of our most significant programs for Gonzaga University have been our nursing programs. But those programs are finding themselves in a moment of challenge. And I think that it's important for you to know that as an educational partner to you in your work as you go forward, we're committed to trying to figure out how to collaborate now with you as professionals to figure out what the future of the healthcare system is to look like and how we as an educational partner can play a role in helping to fortify the teams that you will be members of and will lead as you move forward. We were so honored when the University of Washington School of Medicine asked Gonzaga University to be a partner in this effort. I know you've had at least an opportunity to peek into the SEER facility and to know of the newly created partnership facility across the way from it. It is a commitment of ours too to the future of this work. And I have to say, even though you didn't get the chance to enjoy it nearly as much as I have over the years, it's much better than Schoenberg. And so we're proud of that, and we hope that in some small way you'll be able to revisit and to partner with the up-and-coming students of these programs in the future of your work. What your presence here represents to me and to us at Gonzaga is your perseverance and your commitment, your creativity, your adaptability, your ability to challenge yourself and to find new ways of learning and growing and succeeding despite the challenges, some of which were unforeseen and some of which have yet to be understood. And as we've shared with our own students during this time, our own graduates most recently, I personally believe that it is just these kinds of experiences that make us more effective, more successful in the long term, because they prove to us that we have the capabilities that we need to adapt and to sustain ourselves no matter where we go, and in your case, no matter what practice you engage in. You will be, as a result, wise people with gifts that you can share with other colleagues. And so please know that from us at Gonzaga, you are always Zags as well. We are proud of you, we're grateful for you, and we look forward to, as our colleagues said, celebrating your successes as you move forward. Thank you so much, and congratulations.
I will now introduce myself, pretending to be someone else. Unfortunately, Dr. Podek, who is the Chief for Medical Education for the UW-GU Partnership and the Associate Dean of the UW School of Medicine, was unable to attend, but he did leave some remarks which I will now read for you. Look how many people are here today, here to celebrate and to honor your achievements. Before we do that, however, it is important to honor and recognize those people that have helped you along the way, your friends, families, and significant others who have supported you to get where you are today. Can we give them a round of applause again? What does a graduation represent? It's a culmination of a lot of hard work, a sense of accomplishment, and a glimpse of what lies ahead. And what does lie ahead? This is a great time to be in medicine, to be in patient care, and medicine as a whole is changing and becoming much more of a team sport, with high-functioning teams caring for individuals and for populations. In the past, we've given lip service to medicine being a team sport, but things are changing. We are moving from a golf team where individuals work in parallel to something more like volleyball, in which the entire team works and functions together. As physician assistants, you will be key players. These are exciting times. Yesterday, you were a student, and today, you enter, or for some of you, re-enter the medical profession. Yet you are still a student, a professional student. From here, some of you will go into primary care, others will spend time in the operating room, while others will end up in super specialized fields. But whatever your path, in the next phase of your career, you will enter practices with a lot still to learn in your chosen field. About the field itself, but also from those you will be working with. This will be an exciting time as you put to good use all of the things that you've been learning. Once you get comfortable, though there will be a tendency to get complacent, don't let that happen. You are entering a profession and will be lifelong students. You will follow the latest developments, and you will use the best evidence and practices that relate to patient care. I want to emphasize the word profession. People come to us when they are at their most vulnerable. They are sick, they're not feeling well, they are looking at you, and they are trusting in you. At the same time, our profession has never been under more scrutiny, and at times is viewed through a skeptical lens. You have before you an opportunity, but also a responsibility to ensure that our profession is seen in the best possible light. It doesn't take much, just remembering things you've learned, giving patients the time they need, treating them with respect, and offering them the best possible care. Through these simple actions and your individual and collective integrity, you will ensure that the medical profession, of which you are now a member, will be held in the highest esteem. I'd like to close with a quote from one of my heroes in medical education, Sir William Osler. "It is more important to know what patient has a disease than what disease the patient has." Thank you. I look forward to working side by side with you as colleagues. And that last part, that's from my heart too. I'm so proud of you. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our next speaker. Patty Hahn was a fixture here at MEDEX and helped mentor me when I walked into a tornado. She has since moved on, but we have invited her back here to speak with you, and I am so glad, for one, that she is here. So please welcome Patty Hahn.
Brendan, thanks for that kind introduction. What an honor it is to be here today and to celebrate your accomplishments with you, your families, and your friends, and to be here in person rather than via Zoom. You've come to the end of your MEDEX journey. Whether you like it or not, you are the COVID class. You not only survived PA school, but you survived both didactic and clinical years during a pandemic with all its restrictions, mandates, and social distancing. One of the terms we heard again and again during the pandemic was unprecedented. In fact, Theo mentioned it in his introduction. If you look it up in the dictionary, it means without precedence. So then you have to look up precedents. An act or instance that may be used as an example in dealing with subsequent similar cases, a convention or custom. When you stop and think about it, medicine relies heavily on precedents. We have standards of care and algorithms to follow. We strive to practice evidence-based medicine. However, with evidence-based medicine, we're actually finding out that there are more and more rules or precedents that don't have any evidence behind them. Maybe patients with diverticulosis and diverticular disease don't have to avoid popcorn, nuts, and seeds after all. What other medical practices actually don't have any science behind them? So why do we auscultate every patient's heart and lungs? As clinicians, we find ourselves in unprecedented situations all the time, especially as students and new graduates. Think about the first time you actually sutured on a real patient in your emergency room or ER or surgical rotation, or had to interpret an x-ray and then discuss your findings with the orthopedic surgeon, or discuss your EKG interpretation with the cardiologist. What about the first time you had to deliver bad news to a patient? Those are most likely unprecedented situations for you. Perhaps the pandemic has actually prepared us better to be prepared or deal with those unprecedented situations. During the pandemic, we were forced to pivot, to be more creative, to think outside the box, and just be more flexible. These aren't such bad things to have learned, but most important thing is you survived, despite all the additional challenges that you faced. Some of you may have even thrived in that online environment. Survive or thrive? That seems to be the focus of my talk today. When we think about survival or surviving, we may think of the reality show Survivor. We commonly think of surviving some major challenge or difficult situation. We persevered, we endured, or were somehow able to just get through it, or maybe just get by. During PA school, you might have felt like you just survived an exam, or a sim lab, or a rotation. We talk about car accident survivors, Holocaust survivors, and cancer survivors. You survived PA school. Now it's on to the next challenge, which is to pass your certification exam, find a job, and then begin your career as a PA. Remember, when you are interviewing for a position, the interview is a two-way interaction. You are interviewing them just as much as they are interviewing you. Make sure the position is a good fit for you and that you'll be in a supportive and nurturing environment. While you were in school and during your clinical rotations, your name tag identified you as a PA student. When you see a sign on a car, student driver, don't you tend to just give them a little more space or maybe a little more leeway or maybe just be a little more patient with their driving skills? If you'd been on campus during your didactic year, when you were taking a test in the classroom, we would post a sign on the door that read, "Testing in progress." The sign was designed to make other students in the hallway aware of the testing. We hoped that they would be considerate and not make a lot of noise, thereby minimizing any distractions while you were taking a test. We tried to provide you with an environment where you could succeed. Now that you've graduated, you will no longer be identified as a student, but as a physician assistant. With that change in title comes a change in expectations. You may not be granted the buffer that you once had as a student. However, that doesn't mean you still won't be tested. I would encourage you to find a supportive environment where you can continue to learn and grow in your new role as a PA. Look for a clinic or a medical group that has a robust support system in place for their providers. Do they have medical assistants, nurses, schedulers, case managers, clinical pharmacists, diabetes educators, care coordinators, and scribes, and other support staff? The day has passed where individual providers can effectively manage all the complexities of care, especially when there are so many non-clinical factors involved. Medicine is a team sport, as Dr. Podick, or I guess it was Brendan, mentioned. It takes multiple professionals to assist our patients navigating our complex healthcare system. I enjoy gardening. I call it my dirt therapy. Sometimes when I plant something in a certain location, it just doesn't do well. Perhaps there's too much or not enough sun, or maybe it gets too much or too little water, or maybe the soil is too acidic or alkaline for it to thrive. I can leave it there, but it will struggle to survive in those less than ideal conditions, and it may even die. But if I move it to another location where it gets what it needs to flourish, it's able to grow and thrive and become the beautiful plant it was designed to become. You've heard the saying, bloom where you're planted. I hope that you find a position where you and your contributions are valued, a place that allows you to bloom and to continue to grow and thrive. However, if you find yourself in a position where you're struggling to just survive, don't be afraid to pick up your roots and move to another location. Don't just struggle to survive, but thrive in your new role as a PA. Early in your training, you were taught how to evaluate patients by gathering history, performing a physical exam. You then learned how to develop a differential diagnosis, order and interpret diagnostic tests, and create a treatment plan. Throughout your training, our goal was to teach you how to think rather than what to think. As you developed critical reasoning skills, you were able to consider all the variables, ask questions, and know how to find the answers. Medicine is not stagnant. Because people ask questions, we will continue to make advances. Many significant discoveries in medicine would have never occurred if someone hadn't colored outside the lines. Dr. Marcus DeWood discovered that the majority of myocardial infarctions occurred due to a blood clot when he performed a heart cath on a patient with an acute MI rather than following the standard of care and admitting them to the cardiac care unit. We would have never known that gastric ulcers can be associated with an infection that's best treated with an antibiotic regimen if a doctor didn't ingest a slurry containing H. pylori. Don't be afraid to challenge the status quo. Ask questions, search for answers, think outside the box, and make a difference. Making a difference, making an impact. That was one of the main reasons I loved teaching, and probably why you decided to go to PA school. In fact, in the 2022 Medscape PA Career Satisfaction Report, 2 of the top 3 most rewarding aspects of practice were helping people, making a difference in their lives, and relationships with patients. As I was preparing for this talk today, I reflected back on the year I spent with you. I was saddened that I didn't get to spend as much face-to-face time with you in the classroom, workshop, or sim lab settings. I felt like I kind of missed out on getting to know you as people. Sure, I got to see you in your study areas in your homes when we met on Zoom. I got to see some of your kitchens, some of your bedrooms, your children, your spouses, and even your pets. But I didn't get to interact with you one-on-one. When we got together last September for the intensive weeks, I realized just how much I craved spending time with you. Yet I knew that you also needed that time to interact with each other and establish those close relationships that are normally built over the year spent in the classroom. It confirmed to me just how much personal interaction is a part of the relationship building process. Gallup's leadership research identified 7 key competencies that inspire trust. Number 1 was the ability to build relationships. Don't we need and want our patients to trust us as their medical provider? I would encourage you to develop relationships and make a connection with your patients. Try not to learn about only their medical needs, but also strive to discover who they are as a person. How do you do that? Let me back up for just a minute. I've always found that experience is the best teacher. That's why I included patient encounters from my previous clinical practice in my teaching. Most, if not all, the case studies I presented in my lectures, sim labs, or case-based learning sessions were taken from my clinical experiences. I've always taught from my heart and shared my experiences with you as a provider, so why stop now? Today, I'd like to share some of the things I've observed the past 9 to 10 months from the patient rather than the provider's perspective. You may or may not know that 3 months to the day after I left my faculty position at MEDEX, I found myself in a medical oncologist's office discussing my breast cancer treatment plan. I certainly didn't anticipate that my new full-time job would be dealing with my cancer. I found myself in an unprecedented situation. While you were out on your clinical rotations learning how to become healthcare providers, I was learning what it was like to be a patient in our current healthcare system. I can tell you for certain, I would much rather be in the provider role than the patient role, any day. I truly believe that medicine is a difficult job, and that the COVID pandemic placed a tremendous burden on our already strained healthcare system. These days, you hear a lot about burnout and healthcare providers leaving the profession, but you don't hear a lot of solutions. We talk about just being more resilient. We as healthcare providers are supposed to be able to handle it, to just deal with all the pressures. And like a duck on a pond, appear to be gliding along the surface, letting it all roll off our backs like a duck's feathers shed water. But meanwhile, under the surface, we're paddling like mad. I think we rely too much on considering ourselves bulletproof and not being impacted by all the demands, stressors, and negative things that we deal with day after day. But we are impacted by those things. So how do we survive in such a demanding profession? As a patient, I saw providers suffering from burnout and losing the passion they once had for medicine. How do you keep that passion from dying off? Well, I don't claim to have all the answers. May I make just a few suggestions? Just like I felt like I missed out on some of the personal connections I was able to establish during your didactic year, patients need to have a connection with their providers. How do you develop that connection? It's actually quite simple. You listen to them. You listen to their concerns. You don't even have to have all the answers. Just ask the right questions and listen to their responses. Remember in basic clinical skills when you were taught to ask, how is this impacting your life? It's a great question, but don't stop there. I would encourage you to dig a little deeper. When I taught in a nurse practitioner program, we instructed the students to ask about NEWS. It's an acronym for nutrition, elimination, work, stress, and sleep. When it boils down to it, these are the things that really matter to your patients. Almost every disease has an impact on one or more of these aspects of daily living. Hypertension, hypercholesterolemia, and diabetes have a significant impact on patients' nutrition. In fact, it impacts how the entire family shops for food, cooks, and prepares their meals. Many drugs cause side effects that impact elimination. What type of work do they do? Are they able to continue in their current occupation, or does the diagnosis that you just gave them impact their ability to even do their job? What are their concerns? What's causing them stress? You won't know unless you ask. As you become a seasoned practitioner, it will become routine for you to diagnose and treat several medical conditions. But always keep in mind that what may become routine for you is never routine for your patients. While it might be the third or fourth patient you've seen that day with hypertension or diabetes, or the 8th patient with cancer if you work in an oncology office, these medical conditions are new and scary for your patients. What becomes routine and common for you is not routine for your patients and their families. Perhaps you've heard the saying, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Our patients are people, and they need to know that you care. How do you show you care? You listen. You ask the right questions. You listen to their concerns. You develop a relationship. During your didactic year, you were taught the science of medicine and given opportunities to apply that knowledge during your clinical year. Now it's time to learn the art of medicine. During your clinical rotations, you work side by side with several providers and observe many different styles of delivering health care. I want you to think back of all the providers you interacted with. Who would you like to emulate? Whose style resonated with you? What were the characteristics that you would like to incorporate into your practice style? I would bet if you had to define what made those practitioners stand out, it would be things like actually talking with their patients, listening to them, hearing their concerns, making a connection. Another strategy, I think, to prevent burnout is to create and maintain margins in your life. PA school and preparing to take your certification exam can be all-consuming. If you were one of my academic advisees, you probably remember me telling you to take breaks, have a day of the week or an evening that you set aside to spend time doing something other than school-related commitments. You need to make room for margins in your life. When you open a book, the words don't start, the print doesn't begin at the very top of the page and go all the way to the binding, nor does it go all the way to the bottom. There are margins built in. There are spaces on the page that are not filled in with words. There are paragraphs and other breaks built in between sentences. Our eye needs that space to be able to read and comprehend the words on the page. Quilters know the importance of creating a space to be able to see the patterns in a quilt block. We put sashings and borders in between and around the block so you can see the patterns more clearly. Without these breaks, you would lose the intricacies of the blocks and the beauty of the quilt. We often put in a neutral fabric to, quote, give your eye a place to rest. This makes the quilt block stand out even more. Essentially, we are creating margins. As you begin your professional life, it's still important to allow for margins. Just like PA school, your job can consume you and your time and your energy. Allow for some time and space that isn't occupied by work. Take time to do the things you enjoy. Take up that hobby. Make time to spend with family and friends. Create and maintain margins. Shoot, even your printer knows when you're trying to print outside the margins. You've survived PA school. I'm well on my way to becoming a cancer survivor. We've all been through a challenging time, but we made it through. We are survivors. The word survive has both French and Latin derivatives. In French, it literally means on to live. I prefer that definition. It means you've come through a difficult time, but rather than just getting by, You've grown and been changed by the experience, and now are more prepared to live life to the fullest. You've gained a new perspective and are better prepared to face the next challenge that life throws your way. You might recall me saying, if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. I like that saying because I believe that challenges we are presented with are all learning opportunities. A career in medicine is always going to be challenging. There always will be something more to learn. While you may have finished school, you'll continue to learn. I'll let you in on a little secret. If you didn't already know, things aren't always going to go according to your plan. There are many things that will be out of your control. COVID, coworkers, patients, they're going to disappoint you. Jobs may not turn out to be all you thought they would be. Eric Butterworth, in his book, Spiritual Economics, says, things may happen around you, and things may happen to you, but the only things that really count are the things that happen in you. Many, if not most of the things that happen around us and to us are out of our control. The only thing we can really control is our response to the situation. We can choose to become angry, resentful, and bitter, or be resilient and seek to learn from the experience, grow, and become a better person. Bitter or better. The choice is really yours. I've talked about surviving and thriving as if they were two different options. Perhaps it's not one or the other, survive or thrive. When I stop to think about it, it's really both. You can survive and thrive. You've survived PA school and are now prepared to thrive in a successful career as a physician assistant. I say, on to live.
I think I speak on behalf of all of us when I say thank you. I, for one, am looking forward to precedented times. I don't know how the rest of you feel. Kind of feels like my whole career has been unprecedented at this point. Anyway, next up, I would like to introduce the president of MEDEX Class 24, Tim Mankey, to do the introduction of class officers and the student speaker. Tim?
All right. I will keep this surprisingly brief with the reading of our class officers and a few short words. First, our Vice President, Jacob Price, Secretary, Megan Austin, our class treasurer, Austin Cardoza, Student Academy Rep and our historian, Spencer Hale, Washington Academy of Physician Assistants Student Rep, Dominic DePhillips, Director of Community Outreach, Laura Noyes, Student Diversity Committee Rep, John Bauer, Social Director, Jennifer Jordelin, and Spokane County Medical Society Rep, Brendan O'Neill. I think for most, if not all of us, I can confidently say that the last 27 months has been at least somewhat challenging. Not only did we have the weight of academics to contend with, I know at least for myself, the most challenging academic pursuit to date, all of us, to varying degrees, also had the weight of our individual lives to bear. But we all persevered, and through sheer determination, we are standing before you today. Why? Why did we all make it, and why does MEDEX have such a high success rate? I'm sure there are statistics that can be extrapolated to determine this, but I think the answer is simpler than that. For the most part, we are blessed to have incredibly knowledgeable, and even more importantly, incredibly caring faculty. Faculty that wants nothing more than to see and delight in our successes alongside us. But most importantly, I think all of us up here today have been successful because we live our lives in the pursuit of a worthy ideal. All of us graduating today have achieved success because we live our lives based on the words penned by Earl Nightingale. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. The worthy ideal of obtaining the honor to become a physician assistant so that we can give of ourselves in the service to others. Or, as Walter Reuther so eloquently put it, there is no greater calling than to serve your fellow men. There is no greater contribution than to help the weak. And there is no greater satisfaction than to have done it well. Now for the student speakers of the commencement today, Dominic and Laura.
Hello, Spokane Class 24 teammates. As a cohort, we have so much to celebrate today, and Dominic is going to shower all of us with the pride and recognition we deserve in just a moment. But before we go there, we wanted to open by talking about the rest of you, what I like to call our big team. Many people have brought this up so far. Not a one of us operates in a vacuum. And thank goodness, because that sounds very windy and dusty, and also very lonely. None of us would be here today without the support of our loved ones. So we want to take this opportunity to say thank you to you. To all of the kids who were so patient, waiting for mom or dad to finish studying to play with you or read to you, and then they just fell asleep while they were supposed to be having fun with you, thank you. It's not easy being patient. And trust me, mom or dad would way rather have been hanging out with you than learning hepatitis B serologies. But what they were learning is going to help them take care of kids like you who are sick and need help. You kids have been superheroes for the past few years. Thanks for helping your parents so they could learn how to help others in need. To all of the partners and spouses out there who made more than their fair share of meals, paid the rent or the mortgage, actually read to the children without falling asleep, or were just so patient while we hopped all over the Pacific Northwest for clinicals, thank you. Hearing your voice on the phone at night kept our feet on the ground and our eyes on the prize. For so many of us, you are our rock, our compass needle, our hearts, and our homes. And here I need to specifically thank my husband, Chris. Honey, you know those little green raviolis you learned to make? They've got sausage and mushroom. I really love those. Thank you. Thank you for being such a good husband to me. To the parents and extended family who helped raise us to be curious, hardworking, caring, and ambitious, thank you. We are who we are because of you. To the friends who cheered us on, shared your spare bedrooms, bought us coffee, helped us to process confusing things like people dying or being born in our workplace. Thank you. Good friends are such a treasure. And lastly, to the teachers and preceptors who spent so many hours learning new platforms for instruction, assessing our work and helping us to improve, trying to get to know us beyond our postage stamp images on Zoom, and coaching us in real time with real patience, motivated only by your passion for education. Thank you. Thank you from all of us and from all of our future patients who you have cared for indirectly. Your positive influence ripples out into the world today, and now it is our responsibility to continue learning and pass it on. Each of us knows that none of us would be here without you. This graduation belongs to the big team, and we are so lucky to have each and every one of you. Thank you for being there for us so we can bring passion and compassion to our work and become the very best providers we can be.
Thank you, Laura. And Chris, those raviolis sound amazing. So much has gone into helping us walk across the finish line today. Family, friends, and faculty alike. Let's give them all a round of applause. To my peers, we made it. And here we are at journey's end. Let's take this moment in and be proud, for what we have accomplished is enormous. They said it would be difficult and all-consuming, the common analogy being drinking from a fire hose. But really, this is more like drinking straight from the hydrant, right? Though it was difficult, we did it. Though it was a new horizon, we discovered it and conquered it. I spent a lot of time thinking about what it is, and what I found is transformation. During the didactic year, we had to transform and grow our knowledge by leaps and bounds in a time frame that many would deem unrealistic. With every new wave of change and transformation that has come, we have risen to meet the challenges ahead. We met only briefly before going to remote learning, but regardless, we all found ways to bond despite the distance. Our faculty and the MEDEX team did what I can only imagine is to move mountains to ensure we had an excellent standard of education. And they transformed a once in-person program to almost entirely remote. Rotating through our clinical sites, we faced and weathered a storm of change with each rotation. We had to find our living arrangements, get to know new environments, dynamics, and on top of that, show our preceptors we were up to snuff. The Spokane MEDEX faculty chose well. I have been impressed and honored to have gone through this program with each and every one of you. We constantly challenged each other to meet a standard of excellence, and we all helped one another reach this standard, from remote study sessions to the spontaneous ping pong tournament. We were always aiming to excel. Sitting down studying, I would sometimes think about motivating phrases to get going, like Nike's "just do it." But after 2 years with this class, I realized that couldn't be the motto that my classmates would attest to. They seem more like the "just done it" type, always taking it one step further than I would expect. Poor Nike seems trite and old school now in comparison. I think we better file some copyright on our "just done it" phrase, Spokane Class 24. Reflecting on the last 2 years and thinking about the incredible transformation that has taken place with this class, I am excited to think about the care that this class will give as new providers entering the medical community. I can see that each and every one of us are excited to give back after our transformation. We would like to wish our classmates and their families the very best with their bright futures and say thank you for making up this great class. Spokane Class 24, you rock.
Thank you, Laura and Dominic. So we have a video. Can we cue up from the back there? Austin, I will not forgive you for beating me in that match. But I have been practicing, so I'm gonna come back for your reunion. Excellent job, Spencer. Oh, okay, we're gonna skip it then. We're not doing it twice. At this point, I would like to bring up my co-faculty member, Carrie Rogers, and she is going to be doing recognition of our students, our graduates, who have military service.
I'm just going to hold this. It tends to fall. Okay, well, congratulations to all of you graduating today. I'm very excited and proud of all of you. I'm honored to read a little bit here regarding the recognition of military service. Military service among our PA graduates. However, before we do so, I'd like to have you indulge me in a brief historical perspective that is pertinent to our graduation ceremony. In the mid-1960s, a physician shortage and uneven distribution of primary care doctors were creating a strain on the nation's healthcare delivery system. At that same time, and despite the extensive medical training and experience among military combat medics, there was no corresponding civilian healthcare profession where these skilled veterans could make full use of their expertise. A remarkable visionary, Eugene Stead Jr., then the chairman of the Department of Medicine at Duke University, believed that a new breed of practitioners could increase consumer access to healthcare services. Thus, he enrolled the first class of former military medics into a new program designed to train physician extenders. In doing so, Dr. Stead developed this new curriculum based partially on the fast-track physician training that was implemented by the military during World War II. Subsequently, the first PAs who graduated were in 1967. In the late 1960s, Dr. Richard Smith also recognized this need, particularly throughout the rural communities of the Pacific Northwest. After receiving funds for a federal demonstration project in 1969, Dr. Smith enrolled a class of former military medics and corpsmen into the new MEDEX Northwest program at the University of Washington in Seattle. Ever since those early years, MEDEX has proudly led the way with the highest percentage of veteran students in a civilian PA program. As you see, military veterans have provided a rich tradition and innumerable contributions to the PA profession. I would like to ask those whom have or are currently serving in our military to please stand. It is with great honor today that we recognize the military service among our current graduates, faculty, staff, and audience. Join me in. If you'll please join me next in recognizing specifically the military veterans in our Spokane Class 24. If you will please stand while I call your name. Seamus Burke, United States Air Force. Chris Fulmer, U.S. Army. Tim Mankey, U.S. Air Force. Jonathan McCord, U.S. Navy. Tim Malott, U.S. Air Force. Thank you all for your service and congratulations on becoming a PA.
I'd now like to reintroduce Theo Orchard, the third, and he will be presenting our Golden Apple Award winners.
Okay, so yeah, now we've moved to the award portion of the ceremony. It is my privilege to recognize specifically some of the people who have made this education possible. For those of you who are not familiar with our curriculum, our students spend their first year of their training in the classroom or on Zoom in this case, and the second year they spend in clinics and hospitals in our community across the WWAMI region, learning to care for patients in individual practices. In this setting, they are mentored by volunteers in the community, preceptors who volunteer their time. They are not paid or compensated for the education they provide to the students, and our students spend a month or up to 4 months with each of these individuals, seeing their patients and learning from them day to day. And so every year, each MEDEX campus selects 2 preceptors nominated by the students to recognize for their contribution. The first preceptor chosen by Spokane Class 24 to receive an award this year is PA Scott Gibbs. Scott graduated from MEDEX in 1996 and has been practicing in family medicine in both Kellogg and Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. He began hosting our students nearly 20 years ago. I was trying to go back and find in our records all the students he took, and our records just don't go back that far. But Scott has been an amazing strength to our program and has really embodied what it means to help the next generation. And in MEDEX, we have a phrase that we use coined by the founder of our program, Dr. Richard Smith, of multiply my hands. And Scott has done that. He's perpetuated what he does in his clinic, and there are many PAs practicing today because of Scott. So I tried to calculate again, like I said, how many he has hosted over the past 20 years or so. The best I can calculate is upwards of 12,000 hours of volunteer time to our graduates. Also, when the COVID-19 pandemic interrupted students' clinical learning, all students were pulled out of clinical rotations. This happened before the current class was in rotations, but Scott was one of the first to step up and start accepting students again. We can't say enough about the dedication Scott has put into strengthening our profession, and the student has given us this little blurb about Scott. It says, Scott is an amazing preceptor who takes every opportunity to teach and to coordinate opportunities for further learning with colleagues in other specialties. Scott also demonstrates the impact a PA can have on a community through his practice in clinic and in the local county jail, as well as through his volunteer work. And so we'd like Scott to come up and receive his award. He's going to give us a speech now, or a few words of encouragement.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for this award. It's really cool. Just wanted to thank the University of Washington for allowing me to be part of the program, to become a PA. It's been a great career. One of the things I'd like to make sure that each and one of you understand is how much compassion you have for your patients. In this world where it has been driven to bipolar, where people feel that they need to be liberal or conservative, Democrat, Republican, pro-choice, not pro-choice, remember that the patient who's sitting in front of you is hurting, regardless if they have purple hair, don't have shoes on, where they stand. They're coming to you because they hurt and they need help. And try to disregard all the other distracting information and take care of your people, take care of your patients, because that really is your community. That's about it.
Thank you for being here, Scott, and thank you for all you do for our graduates. The next one, as you can see up here, is PA and Dr. David Atkins. Dr. Atkins graduated from the Idaho State University PA program in 2013. Has been practicing in behavioral medicine at the Heritage Community Health Center in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, where he serves as the Vice President of Medical Services and Medical Director of Psychiatry. David has previous experience in neurology and family medicine as well. Last year, David completed his doctorate of medical science at Rocky Mountain University of Health Professions. Dr. Atkins began hosting our students in 2020. So he's only been with us for a short time, but in that time, he has hosted 14 students and volunteered more than 2,000 clinical hours to our students. And unfortunately, David is not able to be with us today, but he did give me his little acceptance speech to read to you. So he says, congratulations, MEDEX class of 2022. Working with MEDEX students has been a highlight of my last couple of years, and I'm grateful to be chosen for this recognition. During our short clerkship times together, each student has shown dedication to learning and a commitment to caring for our shared patients. It was gratifying to see each of you grow professionally and gain increased confidence in the behavioral health arena. My interactions with each of you gives me confidence in the future of the PA profession. Thank you, Dr. David Atkins. The next phase is we will be moving on to the student awards. Okay. So the first award I'll be presenting is the Underserved Award. As many of you may know, the MEDEX program has a dedication to underserved communities and populations, so much so that we've carved out 1 month of our curriculum in the clinical year specifically to do an underserved clinical rotation. This is where we don't care about the specialty of medicine being practiced, but the population being served. And this is very unique to our program. This award is named for Barbara Gunter Flynn. And Barbara Gunter Flynn was the site director for both the Yakima and the Spokane campuses. Her commitment to providing health care to the medically underserved and also to teach and mentor PA students made her a role model for both PAs and PA students throughout the state of Washington and beyond. This memorial award recognizes and encourages service in and dedication to underserved communities. This student is recognized for exceptional achievement in the care of, improved access for, and promotion of public awareness of the needs of the medically underserved. This recipient has demonstrated a strong dedication to ongoing service to underserved communities. The MEDEX Spokane Class 24 recipient of this year's Barbara Gunter Flynn Award is Spencer Hale. The next award is the Spirit of MEDEX Award. This award recognizes a student who has dedicated themselves to their goal of being a physician assistant, who has shown compassion and sensitivity to others, and who has maintained their humor and perseverance in the face of adversity. They have a positive attitude and are ambassadors for the program throughout their MEDEX training. This person embodies the MEDEX mission. The MEDEX Spokane Class 24 recipient of this year's Spirit of MEDEX Award is Laura Noyes.
The next award that we'll be presenting is the John Coombs Leadership Award. Dr. John Coombs was the Associate Dean for Regional Affairs and Rural Health in the School of Medicine. He had a long record of promoting the PA profession. I am honored to present the John Coombs Leadership Award to Tim Mankey. The next award we'll be presenting is the Stephen Turnipseed PAC Veterans Award. As a veteran, and as many veterans that I know, an award like this is often something that we don't need to be recognized. However, in the strong MEDEX tradition, this is an important award that we do give out. Stephen Turnipseed was the sole African American among the first members of the MEDEX Class 1 in 1969. Like all his classmates, Stephen came to MEDEX as a veteran of the military, specifically with 10 years in the U.S. Army with the 1st Special Forces Group in counterintelligence and psychological warfare in northeast Thailand, along the Cambodian and Laotian borders. He was recruited by Dr. Richard Smith for the inaugural PA program at MEDEX. Dr. Richard Smith once described Turnipseed as one of the most wonderful human beings I know. He has incredible skills, both people skills and medical skills. Fluent in both German and Spanish, despite the fact that he didn't have a high school education, Steve later did receive his GED, received his bachelor's and a master's degree in public health. During the preceptorship phase of his MEDEX education, Steve was placed in an urban Seattle hospital setting, Group Health Central on Capitol Hill. He worked there for a number of years, ran an outpatient clinic, and developed a highly successful addiction treatment services program. I am honored to present the Stephen Turnipseed PAC Veterans Award to Seamus Burke for service to country, class, and community.
In one of the more remarkable twists of fate, Steve Turnipseed went on to teach my father in PA school. Our next award here. Can I get some instructions? Can I have that? Take it away from me. I don't know how to work on the fly. I'm honored to announce the recipient of the MEDEX Student Writing Award. This award is given to one student from each site who has combined creativity and unique approaches with exceptional writing skills in assigned paper. And beyond that, if you don't mind, this student has written outside of the scope of MEDEX beautifully. And so it is my honor to present the Writing Award to Megan Austin. Finally, an award that is near and dear to my heart for what it represents. Mary Reed graduated from MEDEX in 1983. Her husband, Joe Reed, worked with the Washington Association of Physician Assistants to establish this memorial award that honors Mary's commitment to academic excellence. This award goes to the MEDEX student across all 5 campuses who has achieved the highest GPA during the didactic year. It is my great pleasure to give the Mary Reed Award to Sariana Ray Lurch. From one brother to another. Congratulations. Sorry about that. It's very echoey. I apologize. But everybody's awake now, which is great. I'd now like to turn the microphone back over to Carrie for the, do you have something else?
Yeah.
To Theo for the presentation of graduates.
Yep. So we'll move on to the presentation of graduates. Real quick, I want to highlight again that that Mary Reed Award that Sariana just received is across all the campuses. One student gets that, and this is the 3rd year in a row that that came from Spokane. So no pressure. So no pressure to the next class, right? So thank you for keeping with that tradition for us, Sari. Okay, we'll move on to the presentation of graduates. And so you'll remain seated, and then as we'll call you up, you'll come up individually. You'll come up on this side, move across as Carrie reads your name, and then you'll exit there and come back. So you'll receive your hood here, and then your diploma next, and then there will be the others over there for you to shake their hands. Okay? So we'll go there.
Now Carrie's turn.
Got to get comfortable here. Okay,
Adapt and overcome.
that's right.
You want to just put this back in?
Yeah, that's fine. I would leave. All right, without further ado. The presentation of the 2022 MEDEX graduates. Ahmed Galal Abdul Shafi. Megan Austin. John Bauer. Tucker Bronson. Seamus Burke. Austin Reese Cardoza. Pete Cunningham. Dominic Owen DePhillips. Christopher John Fulmer. Spencer Ulrich Hale. Christopher Jenkins. Jennifer Ray Jordelin. Brendan Joshua Lampman. Sariana Ray Lurch. Tim Mankey. Jonathan McCord. Tim Malott. Laura Rebecca Noyes. Mark Andrew Nyberg. Brendan McLean O'Neill. Ravina Kaur Pata. Trevor Joseph Peterson. Jake Price. Taryn Nicole Roach. Sebastian Anselm Sander. Barrett Schneider. Ashley Louise Scott. Lorelei Koo Shuff. Nathan Joel Moreno Sim. Julie Pauline Skews. Reagan Emily Snow. Next, we'll have some closing remarks given by Ami Naidu from the Seattle campus. She's the MEDEX Associate Program Director of Student Affairs and the Interim Associate Director of Academic Affairs.
Hello, everyone. Well, we can now call you graduates. You should give yourselves a round of applause. So, graduates of the MEDEX Northwest PA program, on behalf of all MEDEX faculty, staff, and administration, I would like to congratulate and commend you. Today is a day of celebration, but before we close, I would like to reflect for a few minutes. I ask you now, how will you put your education to use? What will your gifts to the world be? As PAs, not only are we clinicians, but we are healers. As you start clinical practice, I challenge you to think about what this means to you. If you think about it, curing is about repair, and healing is about growth. So fixing is something we do to others, and healing is something we evoke in others. Healing occurs at the level of the person, the patient. It involves the evolution and refinement of the individual person itself. As you endure the curriculum to strive to be the best clinician you could be, we hope you also strengthened your altruistic values, sense of calling, and intention to serve that has led you to medicine in the first place. In the words of Naomi Rachel Remen, who is the founder of the Healer's Art course, we heal with our presence. To help others heal, we need to bring our own wholeness into the examination room with us, which is our strengths, our courage, our caring, and even our anger and fear and doubts. If we bring our wholeness into the examining room, then this gives our patients the permission to be genuine and whole, and it enables them to find the inner strength to deal with their issues and grow from them. In the presence of another person, no one needs to feel alone. It is important to be genuine and remember and trust the hidden capacity for wholeness in yourself and everyone else. So congratulations, you should be very proud of yourselves. And now it is time for some rest and rejuvenation. I would now like to hand it off to Theo to close the ceremony. So congratulations, we hope to see you in the future.
As MC, I'm within my legal rights to supersede Theo and leave you with some personal thoughts. They say you never forget your first. and you'll always be my first. You were already here when I came, and we didn't meet each other in person until 6 months later, but it has truly been an honor. And when I reflect, when I think down deep, I never could have done what you have done. You have survived what many people can't. And I'm so impressed, I'm so humbled, and I am so honored to no longer have to call myself your professor, but to now call you my colleague. Congratulations.
When he asked if he could say something, I told him I'd have to trust him. I don't know if I'll trust him again. This is, so to all the graduates, you all now have time to rest up before the PANCE, the National Certifying Exam. As you enter the profession in your various areas of practice, I encourage you to not forget what it is like to be a student. You strengthen our profession, and there are many more who will come behind you who need your example and mentorship for further strengthening our great profession. As a reminder, you get 1 year to get your feet under you, and then I start sending you students. We have full confidence in you and want to welcome you to the profession. Now, graduates, if you will please stand and be recognized. It is now my distinct honor and privilege to present the graduates of Spokane Class 24 of the MEDEX Northwest PA program. Congratulations. Okay, so this now concludes the formal portion of our ceremony. We do have some refreshments for you. Thank you to everybody for coming and supporting this class. And graduates, before you go running away, we want a class photo of all of you in your regalia up here on stage. So come on up, and then we will turn you free. Okay, congratulations.